What is going on, guys? Welcome back. Commentary for you. Already up at gorlickbread.com. Complete recap of this stream. It's only a handful of minutes, although the stream was nearly an hour. And you can also add to that 12 plus hours of recaps and live reaction with a 30-minute reaction to her travel back home. Obviously, there was a time where we could sit down and we could say, for the same price as XYZ, you can get this, you can get that. I believe those days are long gone. So, what I will tell you now is for half the price of a value menu, for perhaps the cost of a single Red Bull, you can get a whole month of content and a back catalog of live reactions from the past that I know if you enjoy this content, you will love over at gorlickbread.com. Let's talk about really what I think are the two main talking points of this last stream, the first of which is on your screen now. And it's not that easy. He has custody of our child. Now, I understand there are people in this world, like myself, that understand a pet is likely your only connection to a child, right? You're not going to have a child, therefore you have a pet. Fully understand it, fully respect it. In many cases, live it myself. However, under these circumstances, we have to take into account what's actually happening. Okay, Chantal is apparently going through this divorce. Okay, she has a chat that is being very supportive, very encouraging, and very insistent that she stop communicating with Salah. To ease those thoughts, she blocks him as her kind of way of saying, here, I'm doing what you're asking. Then, when she admits that she unblocked him, in order to justify this, she claims that she had to because, again, he has custody of their child. I want to just take this child concept one step further and apply it to Chantal's past, okay? Sam and BBJ, if you're going to look at Julia, who you only had for maybe 2 to 3 years most as your child, you would inherently have to look at Sam and BBJ, who you had for a decade plus as your children. So when you want to give your children away to go be with Salah, the community has no right to say anything about it. No one can be frustrated. No one be angry. No one can be upset. That's your choice. Understood. You then return to Canada and you get Smokey the cat. Now, Smokey's only with you for a handful of days, but by your acknowledgement, this would be like a child. You take this said child from a situation that you claim was not good, and you are going to be the savior, but only after a couple days have to give this, again, this child away. That brings us to Julia. Right, Julia, you have to stay in contact with Salah because, again, he has custody of the cat, which you're now defining as a child, in order to combat not having this relationship that you had in Syria, in Kuwait. When you return to Canada, you go out and you get this current cat, which you've yet to really officially name other than perhaps Annie, which you would also be citing as like a child. When you look at that context, it just, the optics are very bad. You're giving some away. You can't take care of others. You're replacing, one with another. And then now, when push comes to shove, you're using that as kind of a bartering chip with yourself to maintain communication when you really know you shouldn't. And let's take that whole concept one step further. When you really shouldn't remain in contact with Salah, okay? By all accounts, he is making videos, as I just covered, on his own channel. Some have said this is his kind of symbolic way of saying that he's moved on, saying that he's found peace, saying that everything's going to be okay. Perfect. Great. If that's how you want to view those videos, more power to you. If that's how he wanted those videos to be perceived, congratulations, Salah. It's working. But what I would say is if you strip everything down, right, if you take away Kuwait, Syria, the marriage, all these things, the Vandalay fragrance, global leader in scent, obviously, what you're left with is how she is continuing to contact this person, continuing to come online and talk about this person, continuing to keep tabs on this person, while her chat emphatically tells her to stop. Does this remind you of any other situation perhaps that she's went through within the past, 4 to 5 years, where her chat is telling her, listen, move forward. We don't want to hear about this person. We don't want you to talk about this person. This person doesn't matter to us. Yet she continues to insist that not only is she going to do it, but she's going to justify to them why. The other issue being that, unlike in Syria, unlike in Kuwait, she is fully dependent right now on herself. So this chat, these Beezers, how they receive her content, how they respond to what she's doing matters. Matters in a way that it didn't in Syria and Kuwait. We know this now for a fact. She can sit there and say, oh, his family was horrible. She can sit there and come online and do this hour-long cry fest that if anything happens to me, it was them, and then dial it back yesterday with, well, I loved his family. They were great to me. I only dislike the ones that made me feel guilt, made me feel insecure, made me feel shame. But we do know, by all accounts, she did not have to completely contribute there. If nothing else, there was a support system for Salah that, to some degree, would have accepted Chantal if worse came to worse. So what I really struggle to get over now is she's fully dependent on this income. She's coming online, asking for PayPal, asking for donations, setting up fundraisers, going on Hameo. But the one thing they're asking her to do, she's really not doing. Last point I want to make about those Beezers. They've already been very clear with her about her content, the direction, the path, what they want to see. When she was in Kuwait, we had a lot of sitting in front of a wall. When she was in Syria, we had a lot of sitting in front of a wall. Then, when the internet was bad, we got a lot of just avatar. The stream yesterday was an hour. 90% of it was in front of a wall. The other 10% was her literally laying in bed with the avatar up, talking to them as she fell asleep. Chantal, you are actively going against your chat in so many ways. You wondered in this stream why the mods were arguing. The mods are arguing because they understand the pulse, if you will, of your community is telling you what they want to see and what they want you to do. And you were actively not doing that and then creating excuses for why you're not doing that. And for once, some of your moderators are saying, hey, this isn't what we're asking for. You need to change, and you promised us you would when you came back to Canada. You know, all of this wait till we get home, all of this once I'm out of here, all of the excuse that the internet was the problem, that you couldn't go anywhere, you didn't know anything. All of that's done now. And yet the results are still very much the same. You are hyper-focused on Salah, and you are doing everything you can to sit in front of a wall and lay in a bed watching TV. And then expect people to find entertainment or excitement when you recant watching Creepshow in bed. Love to know your thoughts on this. Appreciate you watching it. You know I will be back as soon as I can with more commentary.